Hola mi gente, MsMalcolmHughes here. Welcome back. Today we are coming to review the final book in the Ethic series, Ethic Book 6 by Ashley Antoinette. I say the final book, but she wrote 2 more books and then there's a spinoff, so whatever. But technically, the final book in the series. If y'all remember, I told y'all that book 3 was my favorite of the series. Let me just say, book 3 and book 6 are my favorites. Let's talk about why book 6 is also a favorite. So here we are wrapping up everything that's happening. And one thing I've consistently said throughout the series is that I want to know more about Ethic. A lot of this series has been about Ethic and Alani and their love. I get it. But I want to know how Ethic became Ethic. We get a little bit of it here. We get a little bit more of it here. Not everything I was looking for, but a lot. So that was a plus for this book. We get the background with Ethic and his father. We have that come full circle. What an explosive scene. So good. I think for the first time, I really felt bad for Ethic in this entire series, which is wild to think, but I think there were other characters that were just pulling more at my sympathies. But in this book, I felt so bad for grown man Ethic, child Ethic, in every stage that Ezra, which is Ethic's real name, every stage he had to go through in development. I felt bad for him before, but I've never felt just this empathetic and really feeling what he feels in the moment, and the ability to trust people and to try to rebuild relationships after trust, or to stand in it and say, F you, you did X, Y, and Z. I became this because of you, and that is for you to live with and deal with. Love, so much emotions. We also get a lot of emotions with him and Alani. Whew. Some very high highs and some very low lows, but the journey was worth it. And they do get married in this book. Spoiler alert, sorry. They do. It comes full circle and it really is beautiful. And they're trying to break generational curses, and I love that for this book. We also get our girl Morgan in this book, who is deciding to move to London, and her and Bash. So she's trying to figure out who she is now. One big thing. She gets a letter from Messiah. She gets a check and she gets her diamond ring. And for her, that means he's dead. Y'all, I was out here about to cry real thug tears for Messiah. They didn't fall, but I wanted to cry real thug tears for him. It was a lot, man. It was a lot that happens here. Bella and Hendrix are still trying to figure out what the future holds for them and how to navigate being together and all the complications there, and Hendrix coming to Ethic, and it's just so much here of everybody trying to figure out what's next for them. And it really was a beautiful story. Book 6 had all the drama. Book 6 had all the great sex scenes, okay? Alani and Ezra were doing a lot, and I wasn't mad at all the ways they were finding ways to connect with each other. It was really beautiful because they deserve that, right? And Ashley Antoinette talks about that a lot. I do love the letters she writes to her fans. I think that's a great attribute of the books, and just the ability to connect on that level and to get a little bit of her thoughts. And so for them to come full circle, and the big question here is, can there be love after pain? And this story is one of trying to show that there can be, right? I think she's written just this grand tragedy that's still going on because there's a spin-off series. So of just epic levels of taking this one story and just spinning an entire series and these characters that I'm fully invested in, and I just want to read more and more and more about them. And you never want the series to end. I'm so glad that I found it when I did, when there's so many works created, so I have so much to read. So I'm so grateful. Like I said, keep saying, it kind of has me in a chokehold. I'm reading all of them. I might every once in a while pick up something else, try to read something else, but I'm always coming back to this without a doubt. That's great storytelling, that's good writing. I love how deeply it makes me feel. I love the characters. I really appreciate the writing. I like seeing Ashley Antoinette grow as a writer, and that's one of my favorite things. I appreciate that even though sometimes I'm like, I don't agree with that. I feel like these characters always have to go through something. I do appreciate that the story is gripping. I do appreciate the thought that goes into it. I do appreciate the care that goes into it. I do appreciate the ability for her to be willing to just lean in and let the creative energies flow, and to let these characters tell their own story. As someone who is also writing a book, that's so important. There's been places where I've wanted the story to go and my characters have said no, and I have to let them tell their own stories. And that's what Ashley Antoinette speaks to here as well. There's places that I wanted these characters to go, right? And I'm like, I wouldn't have done it that way, or I may have chosen something else. Or, and of course, as I'm reading, it's kind of like a mystery. I'm thinking about what's coming next. I'm thinking, how does this decision impact things down the line? Sometimes I'm right and sometimes I'm wrong, but I keep reading and I appreciate that. So overall, I would say I really enjoyed this series. I think it's so good. It's surprising how good it is. I think that oftentimes, unfortunately, people see urban fiction and it has a negative connotation, and it shouldn't. It's our stories, and like, we should read them. We should take pride in reading them, right? And so I think this is well done. Like I said, originally it was like the Sister Soldier blueprint, but trust me, Ashley Antoinette took the baton, ran with it, and she is in a whole nother stratosphere with this thing. And I think that is phenomenal. Onward and upward always. So I definitely think it's worth checking out. Based on my scale of should you read now, read if you want, or should you read now, read if you have time, or read if you want, I think the whole series is worth reading, honestly. I think it's so good, it's worth picking up. I would say read now. Y'all, it's gripping. It's so good. Definitely worth checking out. If you've read the series, please let me know down below. If this were the last book, I would be so heartbroken if this was truly the last book. But I know there's spin-offs. I know that there's more to this story to be told, and I am grateful because I still want to keep reading. So that's it for me. I am MsMalcolmHughes, one who believes that books are sometimes better than people. Until the next time, please remember to give time, to be kind to each other, and to have the best day of your life on purpose. Peace, odabo, adios, ciao.